Hey y'all's. I have not reached. Not reached my 12,000 step goal. It's been a sleepy day. I took leave. I was exhausted from this morning. Um, I'm going back to work tomorrow though, and but yeah. So I have not walked my steps. I've only walked. Let's see. I've only walked 6,812 steps today. I don't know if I'm going to walk a little bit more later tonight. It depends on how long this live goes. 2 hours later. No, 3 hours later. Just kidding. Hey, Roses Wild 79. Hey, Carol. So I just want to remind folks. Hey, Elsie. I want to remind folks of what Blake Lively claimed back in April. Hey, Cammy, Danny, and Dana. So this is what Blake Lively said back in April 4, 2026. I don't remember if she said it. I think it's probably through her lawyers. Blake Lively has officially broken her silence. Yesterday on April 3, the actor took to her Instagram stories to share her thoughts following an update in her case against It Ends With Us co-star Justin Baldoni. In her statement, Lively addressed the court's latest ruling, which dismissed 10 of her 13 claims, including the sexual harassment allegations against Baldoni. The remaining claims, the breach of contract, retaliation, and aiding and abetting retaliation, will go to trial on May 18. For this, the star explains she remains hopeful. I am grateful for the court's ruling, which allows the heart of... Sorry, every time I hear the heart, the core, whatever. I am grateful for the court's ruling, which allows the heart of my case to be presented to a jury next month, and for the ability to finally tell my story in full at trial for my own sake, but also for those who don't have the same opportunity to, many of whom I have known and loved deeply in my life, and the countless I'll never know. She shared, the last thing I wanted in my life was a lawsuit. But I brought this case because of the pervasive retaliation I face, not the sexual harassment that she alleges happened, the retaliation I face and continue to, for privately and professionally asking for a safe working environment for myself and others. She continued, I know it's a privilege to be able to stand up. I will not waste it. Yep, you did waste it. You wasted it very quickly. According to Lively's attorney, Mike Gottlieb, the ruling regarding the harassment claims were dismissed ahead of trial due to legal issues rather than an endorsement of the defendant's conduct. The court held that Miss Lively's sexual harassment claims could not go to a jury because Miss Lively did not sign a contract, that she's an independent contractor instead of an employee, and that the offensive conduct occurred in New Jersey instead of California. He explained, that is true, that's true. Yet you left out when he went through each, well, not every single one of the claim, but talked about how some of those claims don't reach the level to be called SH. But anyways, hi Pam, Kiara. Yes, you are free. Sorry, I'm sorry that you got put in in block territory there. Hi, in my opinion, with love. And hey, Echo. I appreciate seeing you right now, as well as in the earlier live that I had today. In my kind of sleepy, I was so tired this morning. Hi, Yazzie. I want to tell my story unless it's inconvenient or will be cross-examined, proving I'm a liar. Yeah. So I just wanted to remind people that Blake Lively keeps acting like she is being held back from telling her full story. But it was her story in the New York Times. It was her story in the CRD. It was her story in many of the mainstream media, like articles. It was her story in her amended complaint. All of those things were her story. It was her story in the deposition, except she won't let us see it. And now she doesn't want to do it. Like, so who has been keeping you I mean, I just want to ask Blake Lively, who has been keeping you from telling your full story? Nobody has. Nobody has. You had the first shot at it. You had the first shot at it. Hey, Trish. So let's read. I didn't get to read the full. I didn't get to read the full motion, the plaintiff's motion for order requiring Blake Lively to give her deposition. I didn't get to read the full thing. But I did read up to a certain point. So, let me see. There's 16 pages here, right? I think I got up to, I don't know where okay, actually, you know what? I realized I only maybe got to page 4.5 out of the 11. So I'm going to be reading this to all of us. And perhaps you've already read this with someone else. But I'm just going to be reading this. So I can hear the full thing. I heard that the last sentence was a mic drop. I hadn't gotten to the last sentence myself. But all I know is I am tired of Blake Lively acting like nobody has given her an opportunity to share her story. She's had ample. She was on Time 100, even though she's like, I can't say much. But she went on like what's it, Seth Meyers or whatever. Like there was always a place that Blake Lively has been. She had her own like social media. There was never a point in time that Blake Lively couldn't, if she wanted to, share her whole story. I think what she wanted is, somebody once said that Blake Lively said she likes interviews where she doesn't get fact checked. I think that's what she was trying to avoid. She didn't want her full story because she didn't want it to be fact checked. And so we can never fact check her feelings. Of course, we can't say, Blake, you never felt X, Y, and Z. But at the same time, we might be able to, if there are evidence that she actually didn't feel certain things at certain times, as she claimed in private, because you saw it or didn't see it in private messages. You know what I'm saying? There are other ways to fact check, even if she had claimed certain emotions or certain feelings or whatever. There were actual things that are objectively outside of herself that could corroborate or not corroborate what she was saying. But on the factual tip, like that those things could have been assessed, but I think she didn't want it to be assessed. Now, mind you, people's memories can get like dim after a while. I'm not saying that that's not possible, that you had such a clear memory in the beginning, and by the time, like, has been a long time, that things can't get shady in your not shady, but like fuzzy in your brain. But you know what I mean? Trish said she is never at a loss for words. If she wanted to talk, she would. She's not fooling us. Yeah. So I agree. So this is a plaintiff's motion for ordering requiring Blake Lively to give her deposition. And can I say, Charles Babcock is a delight to read. I mean, I love how Kevin Fritz writes. I also love how Charles Babcock writes. I like the personality that comes out in his writings. So he says plaintiffs Jed Wallace and Street Relations Inc. Submit this motion requesting that Blake Lively be ordered to give her deposition solely about her claim for attorney's fees and damages. So here's the executive summary. Not satisfied with dismissal of the Wallace party's claims solely on personal jurisdiction grounds, Lively goes on the offensive, seeking fees and damages of around $1 million, not under Texas or New York law, but in reliance on an anti-SLAPP-like procedure statute found in California Civil Code 47.1. Relying on a case of first impression decided in June of 2026, Lively argues in her notice of supplemental authority that to avoid liability, respondents must negate her claim privilege with admissible evidence of her malice. But, and this is the crux of this dispute, Lively says she does not have to give her deposition on that issue, even though she is presumably the best and perhaps only witness who can testify on whether she was malicious when she communicated her allegations of sexual harassment against respondents. Lunch should not be free when Lively seeks around 1 million from respondents and attempts to reverse the burden of both coming forward with evidence and proving her malice without evidence, which, if shown, would defeat the claimed privilege and its remedies. Kiara said, the more I've been reading on what Ryan has done in the past to others and what he says, it is really actually shocking. Echo said, I'm assuming about Charles Babcock, wit and levity combined. In my opinion, with Love says she can't talk because what would she say? Give evidence away. I think that is her biggest concern. Because how many times did we notice, right, that whenever her lawyers provided her quote unquote evidence, it was never really helpful ever to Blake Lively. It typically ended up harming her more than helping her. So I can imagine that she would be nervous that she would show her hand, which was that this was not about SH at the end of the day. This was about reputation rehab. This was about potentially really the ties to the money that came with It Ends With Us. But you know, it is really, really, I just think it's wild to say that you want to tell your full story, and then every time you've been given an opportunity to tell your full story, you don't. Kiara says her attorneys do not want her on the stand. They are afraid what she is going to say. Deposed. Yeah. So introduction says Lively, a party, refused to and did not appear for her notice April 4, 2026 deposition regarding her post-dismissal substantive motion for nearly $1 million in attorney's fees plus costs and treble damages, including punitive damages. Her counsel claimed that notice had no legal basis and was null and void, but made no effort to advance those arguments before the court prior to the deposition as the rules require. Respondents asked the court to order Lively to appear for her deposition at an agreed time and place on not a later than date set by the court, and to award them their attorney's fees. Hi, Mari. Hi, Michelle. Mari said, I'm behind LOL, but Blake probably has very strict boundaries of what her lawyers allow her to say. She can get them in trouble at this point, I'm sure. And Kiara said, that is what I think too, Mari. This case all started when Lively filed a complaint with the California Civil Rights Division on December 20, 2024 against Wallace and Street, even though neither Lively nor respondents reside in California, nor was it the state where the alleged harassment occurred, claiming she was harassed because of complainant's sex, gender, sexual harassment, hostile environment, despite never having met or interacted with them. The case was closed the same day it was filed and a right to sue letter was issued. Also that day, Lively provided a copy of the CRD complaint to the media, specifically the New York Times, whose reporter contacted Wallace within hours of the filing with an urgent request for comment because the reporter wrote that she had learned that Miss Lively filed a legal complaint against you, alleging sexual harassment among other claims. The subsequent publications of the false claims of sexual harassment and other misconduct caused respondents to file this lawsuit for defamation in their home Texas. Okay, I just wanted to see what the footnotes are. All pinned citations are to the ECF pages in the file stamp documents. And another one is the court where the action is pending may on motion order sanctions if a party fails after being served with proper notice to appear for the person's deposition. Unacceptable excuse for failing to act. A failure described in Rule 37D 1A, party failure to appear at notice deposition, is not excused on the ground that the discovery sought is objectionable, unless the party failing to act has a pending motion for a protective order under Rule 26C. Ooh, I like that footnote. So basically, she didn't make any proper objection to the notice. She just ended up not showing up. Kiara said, I can't wait till you get to the threat that appears to be Gottlieb's specialty. Allegedly, of course. Yeah, I actually did get to that in a short that I did earlier this morning. That is definitely a good read because it definitely establishes a pattern of how Gottlieb communicates. But there's a lot of pounding of the table here from Gottlieb. Lively filed a motion to dismiss, and Judge Ezra agreed that the court did not have personal jurisdiction over her, a New York resident, and dismissed the case without prejudice and without deciding on any other basis for dismissal. Over 5 months after that ruling, which was appealed, still pending, Lively moved, pursuant to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 54 and under, she says a substantive California statute for attorney's fees of approximately $800,000, not including the fees incurred in connection with preparing and litigating the fees motion, to which Ms. Lively is also entitled costs and treble damages for any harm caused by this defamation action, in addition to punitive damages. Get out of here, Blake Lively. Get out of here. Hi, Kenny. On June 12, 2026, she filed supplemental authority attaching a ruling in a case from the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York, where Lively sued Justin Baldoni and others, including Wallace and Street, who were dismissed before the ruling. Lively's counsel argued that the ruling is relevant to numerous issues raised by the parties, specifically her argument that respondents bear the burden to prove Lively's malice, and even sufficiently alleging malice is insufficient to avoid fee shifting. Although respondents disagreed with the applicability of the ruling and Lively's reading of it, given the New York decision and the amount of fees, costs, and damages she is seeking, respondents requested Lively's deposition. Counsel met and conferred both by phone and email, ultimately resulting in, when negotiations proved unsuccessful, respondents serving a notice of deposition for Ms. Lively to appear for deposition in New York, her home state, on August 4, 2026. In other words, we're not even asking you to go to Texas. We'll go where you are. It's no inconvenience. We're going to where you are to have the deposition, because last time when it was her deposition, she claimed she was so in danger. She needed the safety of just doing the deposition in her own lawyer's office. So maybe they're like, look, we're not going to play those games. So we're just going to go to New York, do the deposition there. But upon receipt, her lawyer claimed the notice was of no legal basis and null and void, but made no effort, zero, nada, zilch, to seek a protective order during the approximate 3-week period between the date the notice was served, July 13, and the scheduled deposition, August 4. Oh, and I would love Gottlieb and them to truly follow through with their sanctions threat, which we'll be reading about in a second, because I would love them to attach every email around this and see who's representing the conversation for what it is. Because I would like to believe that they did not have any of these conversations only on the phone. They're ready to provide the receipts of this conversation. Hi, Prish. Trish says, LOL, now she'll claim they're stalking her by going to New York instead of the convenience, right? I mean, it's something that she would twist. I suppose she could twist, knowing her. Not that I know her, but seeing the pattern within her actions, I guess I should say. Last week, Lively's lawyers confirmed that his client would not appear for the notice deposition and implied that he would seek sanctions if respondents pursued the deposition or even mentioned publicly that she had refused to appear on August 4. He put respondents on notice that if they pursued this frivolous discovery, Miss Lively would be represented by all of the 7 attorneys on the email exchange that their hourly rates charged by Miss Lively's attorneys in the New York case, and she would seek to recover all their fees for preventing her deposition. You know, it's laughable at this point. Does she want to tell her full story or not? Just tell your full story, Blake. Because you were going to get grilled anyway in trial. She's going to, I mean, what's the difference between a deposition and a trial? You were going to get grilled either way. You were probably going to even be more limited in a trial than in a deposition. But I guess the restriction on Blake is that they don't want her to perjure herself. And that makes it hard how much she can say in order to not perjure herself. And I think she already perjured herself anyway within the deposition that we were able to partly see with the Wayfarer case. We saw absolutely her claiming things that were contradicted by the evidence that was provided. Hi, Donnie. He also indicated that if respondents sought to depose Lively, she would, in the alternative, request document discovery on her clients, their depositions, and 5 additional depositions. Oh, sorry. I read that wrong. I said on her clients when it says on your clients. He also indicated that if respondents sought to depose Lively, she would, in the alternative, request document discovery on your clients, their depositions, and 5 additional depositions, including the lawyer for Baldoni and others in the New York case. And she would seek attorney's fees and costs for all that discovery. Moving on. I mean, don't tempt me with a good time. Let's go. If we're going to have all that discussion, let's see it. Let's see it, Blake, because you had all the time in the world in the Wayfarer case, and you kept bringing evidence that only helped Wayfarer. So bring it. What are you going to be able to drum up now? Like, you had so much time and could not give anything that was actually helpful to your case. Every single time we read a new filing, it was so hard to understand your reasoning of providing it because it wasn't helpful to your case. Hi, ISIS email 2488. He said Brian Friedman is ready. Like, I mean, yeah. Like, what is she going to try to depose him for? I mean, does she want to have her feelings hurt? Is that what it is? I don't understand. Mari said the only way Blake can go to the deposition is if she had a hand-drawn kid's art purse. She's shy, of course. You know, that might be the only way to get Blake Lively to go to a deposition. Tell her it's the Met Gala. Bait and switch. Just kidding. Moving ahead, despite the threats, the monetary relief Lively is seeking and her unique knowledge of her malice, or she would say lack of it, entitles respondents to this discovery. She is, after all, the one who invoked Rule 54D, seeking fees and damages under California Civil Code 47.1 and advancing the, we say, novel argument that respondents have to negate her claim privilege with admissible evidence of her malice. No discovery has occurred in this case at all because Lively has blocked it at every turn. Her counsel refused to participate in a Rule 26F conference, forcing Wallace and Street to file a motion to compel conferral, which Lively opposed. Having blocked all discovery, Lively now argues that this absence of malice evidence bars respondents from opposing her fee motion. And so here's one of the footnotes. Based on the rates disclosed for the 7 attorneys that Lively's counsel has represented, she intends to include in her fee request here, excluding Ms. Prather, whose rates were not disclosed in the New York case, the cumulative hourly rate is nearly $10,000 per hour. They definitely took this lady for a ride. I mean, they definitely took Blake for a ride because they are they're like free check and a blank check to just do whatever. It's wild. Kiara said, I can't stand that they're trying to intimidate them monetarily. Ugh, I hope they do get sanctions. Pam said, seems very likely that Taylor was threatened now. Hey, Christina. Good to see you. The lively motion should be denied on the merits as respondents have demonstrated in their response. But even if the court concludes that 47.1 could theoretically apply, the respondents are entitled to pursuant to the fact-finding contemplated by Rule 54D, limited discovery, specifically Lively's deposition, to establish Lively's malice precluding application of the California procedural device. Pam says, I think Gottlieb knows this fee motion will be tossed. Otherwise, he would have followed proper procedure. I think he's just giving lip service to Ryan. Kiara said, what makes me mad is the normal Joe Blow could probably, I'm guessing couldn't. Yeah, you corrected that down there. Okay. Couldn't afford to fight and have to roll over. It is really disgusting. Okay, so the next section is the facts. In addition to the facts outlined above, we refer to the court to respondent's amended complaint and plaintiff's response to defendant's motion for costs and attorney's fees. We incorporate those pleadings by reference. And then the next section is arguments and authorities. A, the court has broad discretion in determining the scope of discoveries. Parties may obtain discovery regarding any non-privileged matter that is relevant to any party's claim or defense. In the context of discovery related to a request for fees, the request for the court is whether the requested information is relevant to the motion for attorney's fees. To that end, district courts have a great deal of discretion in resolving discovery disputes and determining attorney's fees. Fed R. Civ P 54D2 Advisory Committee note to 1993's amendment. The court may determine that discovery under Rule 26 to 37 would be useful to the parties in the context of a claim for attorney's fees. This discretion is consistent with the court's broad discretion to manage the timing, scope, and sequence of discovery. All right. And then the footnotes here said, during their multiple communications regarding the proposed deposition, counsel argued that respondents had already taken Lively's deposition in the New York case. But there, respondents were limited to 1 hour, which was directed at whether the Wallace parties was subject to jurisdiction in New York. The judge subsequently ruled they were not. The Wallace parties incorporate by reference the allegations in the first amended complaint for completeness, but focus on the relevant facts and procedural history set out herein. Kiara said, I wish one of these cases would go to trial and I was picked for the jury and I could say, no need for trial. Guilty, Blake. Kiara, I'm fairly sure you would have been already weeded out before you can even get on the jury. Because you can't come in with any bias. But I'm sure you're just joking when you say that. Hey, Khaleesi. Okay, so the Lively motion should be denied. As fully set forth in the Wallace party's response, the Lively motion fails for multiple independent reasons, which we need not repeat. So Lively blocked all discovery in this action. The reason that there is no evidence of malice from Lively in the record, other than the Wallace party's well-pleaded and uncontroverted allegations, is not because such evidence does not exist. It is because Lively ensured it could never be obtained. Beginning on June 16, 2025, and well prior to dismissal, the Wallace parties made multiple attempts to engage defendant in a conference pursuant to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 26F. Lively's counsel refused, forcing the Wallace parties to seek an order requiring the parties to confer and submit a proposed scheduling order. Lively opposed even that basic procedural step. Rule 54D entitles the Wallace parties to discovery. Rule 54D is not merely a vehicle for seeking fees. It is a fact-finding framework. The rule requires the court to find the facts, and state its conclusions of law as provided in Rule 52A. Contemplates evidentiary hearings under Rule 54D2D, and per the advisory committee notes to the 1993 amendment, authorized courts to determine that discovery under Rules 26 to 37 would be useful to the parties. I don't know if I need to read that. Fed R Civ P 54D2CD Advisory Committee's note to 1993 amendment. See also Mora 2011 WL 132864042 at 3, confirming that limited discovery is permissible on a Rule 54 fee application as to contested issues. Hi, Akasha's piece. Judge Lyman's June 12, 2026 order in Wayfarer Studios LLC versus Lively applies these principles directly to 47.1 fee motions. Judge Lyman's order is certainly not binding on this court, as it involves different parties, different procedural posture, different arguments, and a stipulation in which the parties agreed California law apply. Whereas here, the applicability of California law remains highly disputed. But even accepting Judge Lyman's framework argumento, that our order supports the motion for discovery here. Specifically, Judge Lyman held that Rule 54D permits courts to find the facts necessary to reach determinations both with respect to liability and amounts for fee awards. He also explained that courts may permit discovery under Rules 26 through 37, and there might be good reasons to do so where a complaint contains well-pled allegations of malice, but as here, has been dismissed prior to the completion of discovery. Judge Lyman granted fees in the New York lawsuit because the Wayfarer parties declined to use these tools. Ouch. I mean, the court closed the record in part because the Wayfarer parties have not requested discovery or a hearing. That outcome does not foreclose discovery here. Indeed, it supports it. I love that Blake Lively tried so hard to get Jed in here, and because she couldn't, he's not part of the settlement, and he's like, it's not over. It's not over. It's still not over. No. Anyways, Pam said, I hope if Wallace appeal is denied, he just goes to New York to sue her. I hope he doesn't let her ever have peace. I mean, at the end of the day, like, she did drag his name into this. He was a private citizen for the most part. And so I still remember the video I did on Jed Wallace very early on, where I was like, I don't know if it's going to matter. And it did matter. You know, it did matter. But I had said, why did she say that she was going to sue Jed Wallace in street relations? And actually, she also did RWA Communications, which was Jen Abel's like PR company. She also had said that she was going to sue them, but she dropped all three of them, you know? And so I was like, why did she do that? And it's clear it's because she had nothing that she could legally like connect him to. And this was going to be really hard for her. So what could she do except just mess with his reputation? But I think that allows him to be able to fight and hold her accountable for what she did. Trish says, don't mess with Texas. ISIS email 2488 said Blake is so vindictive. She also exposed his medical issues. Hi, Kimberly. Pam said, because he's a private citizen, proving defamation is much easier for him. Lively's counsel insists that a leave of court is a prerequisite to any discovery under Rule 54D and characterizes the advisory committee notes use of the word rare as a bar, but rare is not never. The notes contemplate that a court will determine whether discovery is warranted. They do not prohibit it. And Judge Lyman's order identifies precisely the circumstances in which discovery is appropriate, where a complaint contains well-pled allegations of malice, but has been dismissed prior to the completion of discovery. That is this case. Several factors confirm that this is the occasion the advisory committee contemplated. One, the complaint was dismissed without prejudice on jurisdictional grounds, not on the merits. Two, Lively affirmatively blocked the Rule 26F process, preventing any discovery from occurring. And three, Lively herself placed the malice issue squarely before this court by filing her request for affirmative relief in the form of her motion for costs and attorney's fees, while this case was pending on appeal, as well as, importantly, her notice of supplemental authority emphasizing that the Wallace parties must prove malice to avoid application of the Section 47.1 fee shifting right, based on a case of first impression under the new California statute. So basically, Lively's like, they have to prove malice, but I did everything in my power to make sure they don't have any ability to provide that information because I refuse to do a deposition. And they're like, nah, don't let her get away with that. That makes no stinking sense. Hi, Suki. Khaleesi said she's cold-blooded. Kiara said, do you think that this judge will have a conversation with Lyman? I don't know. I don't know how that all works. I mean, he just needs to read like what Lyman ordered to see, whether they agree with the representation of what Babcock is saying here. Lively's deposition is narrowly tailored and directly relevant. The central question is Lively's state of mind, whether she knew her allegations were false, had a good faith belief in the truth of her statements about respondents specifically, or acted with reckless disregard of the truth or with ill will. Lively is the best person to testify about her subjective knowledge and intent regarding the Wallace parties at the time she made the challenge statements, because malice is an inherently subjective inquiry. Other evidence, such as documents or third-party testimony, is subordinate to Lively's own testimony about what she knew and believed when she falsely accused the Wallace parties of sexual harassment. Ooh, that's also interesting, because what are the implications of this with the Jones versus Abel case? This is kind of almost putting Blake Lively between a rock and a hard place, because depending on what she claims about what she believed about Jed Wallace, she's going to have to throw Stephanie Jones under the bus if she's going to try to prove that she had every right to believe what she believed, because the main evidence that she would have to give is that Stephanie Jones provided information that gave her the impression that this was the case. How else? I mean, so what does that mean for Jones versus Abel? Like, this is happening concurrently, right? So, I mean, Pam says, I love that for her. And Suki said, put the dummy in the stand already. I am like amused by the reality that she's going to have to make a decision. How is she not going to harm Jones versus Abel, like Jones's case, as no wonder she doesn't want to talk. I am very surprised how neither Blake or Stephanie threw each other under the bus fully during this whole thing. So I realized it might not be too late. It might not be too late. There might be still an opportunity for Blake Lively to throw Stephanie Jones under the bus, but then Stephanie Jones is not a person that you want to throw under the bus, because she will throw you under the bus. So allegedly. So I don't know. Kiara said, how did the explain Van Zandt, did it ever come up how she decided to subpoena the phone? I think all of those pieces will come up. in the Jones versus Abel case. So it's going to be quite interesting. About her subjective knowledge and intent regarding the Wallace parties at the time she made the challenge statements. Because malice is an inherently subjective inquiry, other evidence such as documents or third-party testimony is subordinate to Lively's own testimony about what she knew and believed when she falsely accused the Wallace parties of sexual harassment. And the thing is, when you read her complaint, it's not that she ever made the accusation of sexual harassment. It was more the aiding and abetting of retaliation. And I guess that's why the question is like, why this fall under 47.1? How can you make this? How is this even reasonable to make this under 47.1? You know what I mean? And I understand the case for the Wallace parties. They're saying that she made accusations of sexual harassment because the way that the CRD was written up, they put all of the claims on next to all of their names over on the left-hand side, I believe, and the right-hand side was versus like in an actual lawsuit, you're breaking down who you're claiming, whose claim the claims refer to which party, and there was no breakdown of that in the CRD. So it did give the impression that all of these accusations were being done for all of the folks, even if that was not really the case. Kiara said, I cannot stand bullies or injustice. Pam said, nope, not at all. I hope both her and Ryan face consequences and soon. Widja Barnwell 7944, you said, I've never seen anyone so determined to be an architect of their own demise as BL, and for that matter, her husband. I mean, the person who said that they want to be the architect of their own demise or success or whatever was Ryan Reynolds. So, I mean, I'm not surprised that they're both going down the way. I mean, I've never, as they say, I've never seen such an owned goal, which is like a soccer or a football term. What an own goal. Like, there's so many things that they've done where I'm like, what an own goal. Khaleesi said, OMG, I've been boycotting Ryan for over a month today. Congratulations, Khaleesi. Mari said, Lyman really treated Blake like the greatest negotiator of the 21st century. Rose-colored glasses of all of her scams. The Wallace party's intended examination is narrowly tailored and directly relevant to the issues Lively herself has put before this court. Her knowledge of the Wallace party's actual role, if any, at the time she made her statements. Her basis, if any, for including respondents in the CR disseminate accusations against them to the press before conducting any investigation into their conduct, notwithstanding her subsequent judicial admission in her 202 petition in Hayes County that such investigation was necessary to discern the scope of Mr. Wallace's conduct. Without this deposition, the Wallace parties are deprived of perhaps the best evidence of her malice, which Lively claims is the Wallace party's evidentiary burden to demonstrate under Judge Lyman's ruling. She cannot have it both ways. Oh, she'll try. She'll try. But they're saying she cannot have it both ways. The deposition is limited to a single witness and is the least burdensome discovery that could meaningfully advance the resolution of this dispute to the extent the court finds 47.1 applicable, and further, that respondents have the burden imposed upon them by Lively's argument. In conclusion, the court should deny Lively's motion for fees for the reasons detailed in the Wallace party's briefing. In the meantime, so that the court is complete, the court should order Lively's deposition and defer rulings on the fees motions until the Wallace parties have had a meaningful opportunity to develop the evidentiary record of the issue of malice. The Wallace parties also seek all other relief to which they are entitled, including attorney's fees pursuant to the federal rules of civil procedure. Lively chose to seek fees and damages. She should not get to choose silence. Okay, I love that. I love that. And that's supposed to be the mic drop sentence. But honestly, like I have never understood Blake Lively claiming, oh, they're trying to suppress my speech and they're trying to girl, no, but no one has. I will tell you, I was waiting for you to provide something. You know what I mean? And the fact that she would not, you know, was baffling to me. I mean, I shouldn't say would not. She kept throwing in these random things. And I'm like, this does not establish anything that you have claimed. Kimberly said, as bad as their careers are sinking, doesn't she need to settle before they can't even do an infomercial? Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Do you, okay, I'm going to put a poll question. And the poll question is going to be, do you think, what do you think, what do you think Blake Lively will do? Provide a deposition or drop the motion? Which one do you think she's more likely to do? I want to know. Because I just feel like she realizes it's much scarier for her to speak, because everything that has been most harmful to Blake has been her own words. Khaleesi says she's a yapper. Isis email 2488 said, at the hearing, Lyman kept saying Blake can end this. I mean, she, yeah. Echo said file sanctions, LOL. Oh, good point. I could have said file sanctions. That's another options. I gave two options, but I guess that could have been a third option. She would file sanctions. Kiara said if she drops it, can Wallace sue her? I mean, he's still appealing the lawsuit that he filed. So, I mean, he's already suing her per se. I mean, in the sense of like he's appealing the decision of the dismissal. Suki says she'll be hostile. Pam says she can't drop it. The judge has to dismiss. I mean, I don't know. In some ways, didn't Judge Lyman allow her to withdraw certain things? Or was that subpoenas and that works differently? So maybe even my question is not accurate, if that's what you're saying, if she can't drop it. Maybe it's file sanctions, I should have said. Because, I mean, she can't withdraw it? Is it impossible to withdraw a motion? I mean, this is not like a lawsuit. The lawsuit she couldn't just drop willy-nilly after a certain point, but a motion? Does a motion have to be kept without? Again, I'm not a lawyer, so a lawyer needs to tell me if a motion just can't be dropped. Mari said for being the one who was supposedly harmed, she's sending everyone down random goose chases. Akasha says drop it. She will not publicly out herself. Isis email 2488 said, I want the deposition. So do I. Pam said subpoenas are different, but yeah, it's filed. Kiara says, what would she file sanctions for? I don't know. That's just the threat that allegedly Michael Gottlieb probably gave. That if you even speak about this, we'll sanction you or whatever. But I don't know how they could. That probably feels like a yapping dog, like that, like it's not really gonna bite. That they didn't take them seriously. ISIS email 2488. She can't walk away. There will be fines. Um. Huh. See, I didn't realize you can't drop motions. I knew a lawsuit you couldn't drop at a certain point. Um. Because if that's the case, I'm going to end this poll because then my options. Okay, it says, um, I don't think they would be writing it, Kiara, if there wasn't something written down. Hey, just Shorty P, because then they're going to be if they made these statements and they don't have it written down, it's almost as equal to like how Blake Lively wanted Trust Me Bros. You know what I mean? Okay, it says you can withdraw a motion, which some people sometimes casually call dropping it. Usually, the party files a notice of withdrawal or asks the judge for permission to withdraw it. Whether permission is required depends on the court's local rules and how far the motion has progressed. It may be easier before the other side responds or before the judge rules. Once the judge has already ruled, however, the motion generally cannot simply be dropped. The party would need another procedural step, such as requesting reconsideration, withdrawing related relief, or deciding not to pursue an appeal. Also, withdrawing a motion is not necessarily the same as dismissing the entire claim or lawsuit. Rule 41 governs dismissal of an action or claim, not merely taking a pending motion off the court's calendar. So I do think that they can drop the motion by doing a notice of withdrawal. It's only if the judge has made a ruling, which the judge has not made a ruling on it yet. After the judge has made a ruling on it, then they can't just simply quote unquote drop it. So I think it's still accurate to say that maybe the proper term should have been withdraw the motions rather than drop the motion. But I don't think they're at a point of no return at this point because no decision has been made. After the judge makes a decision, that's going to be she needs to make a decision now, I think. Hi, also Lark 3029. Okay, let's see. The footnote here says it should be noted that the respondents strenuously oppose the notion that they have the burden to come forward with sworn testimony of malice to defeat the 47.1 motion on the merits. And then there's Charles with his signature amongst his other folks. Certificate of service, which is another thing I would say. Which I will say, the certificate of service is something that people wanted to see on the subpoena to see if because we never got to see on the Van Zandt subpoena that they ever did an actual certificate of service. I hereby certify that on this 5th day of August 2026, I electronically filed the foregoing document with the clerk of the court using the CMECF system, by which notification of such filing was electronically sent and served to all counsel of record. I certify that opposing counsel and I have had multiple conferences and email exchanges regarding whether respondents will have the opportunity to secure a deposition of Lively on the issues raised in Lively's motion, including her malice. Our agreement could not be reached, and Lively's counsel warned of dire consequences if respondents proceeded with the motion. Hi, the one you don't know, 9773. Oh, wait a minute. Did you just change your name? No. I didn't. You didn't. Okay. I wasn't sure if for a second I was like, wait a minute, but no. Wait. Somebody's saying hi to Theon. How come I don't see Theone? This happens every time. I see like someone saying hi to Theone and I don't see Theone. Why am I not seeing? And I'm on live chat, so it's not even top chat. So how come I'm not seeing Theone? Oh wait, no. Oh, the one you don't know, is that Theone too? I got you now. Like I was like, where's Theone? Because I was looking for Theone. Okay, I got myself confused. Sorry. Uh, Faye Andy said we just like to see her speak her truth. Like to actually hear her out. You know what I mean? But I feel like she's been given every opportunity to do so. She also was the first one to put her narrative out there. Yeah, okay. So but you said hi to Theone there, Christina. So is Theone here? Because I don't see Theone. Or you're saying, oh, but you're saying the way you write, the one versus Theone. Got it. I'm a little slow in the uptake this evening. Apologize, Christina. Apologize. Not you apologize. I mean, like, I'm apologizing. Oh, my word. I'm too tired. Okay. ISIS email 2488 said New York and Texas are both one party consent for recording. Okay. Let's see what else is here. Pam said, how is your mama? I picked up one of her antibiotics. I guess the other antibiotics is coming in tomorrow. But she was acting like fine. Like, but she said that she is still coughing a little bit of blood. But I think like I looked up and they said looked it up and they said that for a little bit of time that might still happen the first few days or something like that, but that antibiotics should kick in or something. But if it really is like a lot, that is probably, if it turns out it's not really pneumonia, you know, and it's something else. But hopefully it's just, well, I mean, I shouldn't say just pneumonia because I have to remind myself that pneumonia is actually not good for older folks, older adults. So I have to remind myself of that. So plaintiffs Jed Wallace and Street Relations Inc.'s notice of videotape deposition of defendant Blake Lively. To defendant Blake Lively by and through her counsel of record, Michael Gottlieb, Kristen E. Bender, Aaron E. Nathan, Wilkie Farr, and Gallagher, LLP, 2029 Century Park East, Los Angeles, California, 90067, Laura Lee Prather, Catherine L. Robb, Michael J. Lambert, Reed Pillafont, Haynes and Boone, LLP. 98 San Jacinto Boulevard, Suite 1500, Austin, Texas 78701. Pursuant to the federal rules of civil procedure, plaintiffs Jed Wallace and Street Relations Inc. will take the deposition upon oral examination of defendant Blake Lively commencing on August 4, 2026 at 10 a.m. at the offices of Lenkler, Siffert, and Wohl, LLP, 1185 Avenue of the Americas, New York, 10036. And continuing from day to day until completed. The deposition will be recorded stenographically and by videotape and audio tape before a qualified court reporter or other officer authorized by law to administer oaths and take testimony. And I hereby certify that on this 13th day of July 2026, I serve the foregoing document on counsel of record by electronic mail. And then order granting plaintiff's motion for order requiring Blake Lively to give her deposition. Before the court is plaintiffs Jed Wallace and Street Relations Inc.'s motion for order requiring Blake Lively to give her deposition, in which the respondents seek an order requiring Lively to appear for deposition relating to Lively's motion for costs and attorney's fees under Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 54D and California Civil Code 47.1. Having considered the motion, the court is of the opinion that the motion should be granted. It is therefore ordered that the motion is granted and movement shall appear for depositions in persons at the offices of Lankert, Siffert, and Wohl, LLP, 1185 Avenue of the Americas, New York, 10036, or at another agreeable location within 30 days of this order. Signed this blank day of blank 2026. So So this is the thing that they want him to agree to, the judge, Justin M. Howell. This is not something that has been ordered. This is what they hope the order will say. So, all right. The last thing I'll probably do for tonight's live is just to see where things are. Is there any reporting around this? Like, is it showing up at all on Blake Lively's name? Or is this, if it's not, if this Jed Wallace stuff is not hitting the news for Blake Lively, you can tell that she does not want it to be news. Because if she wanted this to be news, she would have put it up there. She would be having articles on it right now. So let's see what they have for Blake Lively's. Christina said, wait, what? I didn't know about this. Oh, I hope your mom gets better soon, Baji. That is scary. I'm glad you and family are around to watch over her. Yeah, I had taken a sick leave day today because I had needed to take her to the ER. And because I had taken her to the ER, like I was exhausted in the sense of like I didn't get to sleep. I mean, it wasn't that long per se in the ER, thankfully, and they found out that it's pneumonia. But hopefully it's like, yeah, hopefully the antibiotics will just hit, you know. Pam said, and every time you get pneumonia, it leaves damage. Oh, my word. I hope not. Okay, so here's, I guess it does, but I was like, oh. So here are the headlines when you look up Blake Lively. So Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds teased new beginnings after Justin Baldoni's legal blow. That's one of the articles. I have a few dragons. Text message dragged Taylor Swift into Blake Lively's battle with Justin Baldoni. Blake Lively ignores Taylor Swift's scandal as she hangs out with other friends. Fans think Justin Baldoni's wife subtly shaded Blake Lively in wedding anniversary Instagram post. Blake Lively's legal price tag could lead Justin Baldoni to financial collapse, insiders claim. Let me roll my eyes. Lawyers are allegedly rolling their eyes at Blake Lively's latest request. And Blake Lively's underrated shark movie, The Shallows, is swimming to Netflix for a new life. Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to try to decide if I'm going to read any of those articles. But before I do, I'm going to check out what is happening with Ryan Reynolds. When you look up information for Ryan Reynolds, how is his media? So Ryan Reynolds' next major movie before MCU returns is just weeks away. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds tease new beginnings, so that's in both of theirs. Ryan Reynolds crashes San Diego Comic-Con in incognito. So they have one that's 10 days, 8 days, and 5 days. So this tells me that Ryan's not really putting out much. If all of these are like 10-day stuff, like with Blake, she had these are pretty like within 3 days or so, I think, most of these posts. So his is really old, except for these two new ones. So maybe this one's worth reading because it's on both of theirs. I wonder if there's anything with Jed Wallace. I mean, I don't imagine there would be. Okay, Jed Wallace PR. Is he? So he doesn't even have articles. And I don't think I would assume that Justin's headlines will be super old too. because I don't think they put out anything recently aside from the anniversary post. So okay, this one shows up on all three of them. That means that we probably should read this one. It's getting pushed out to hit all of their search engine ones. I don't know why, but I guess we'll find out. This one's also both on Justin's and Blake's. This one's also on Justin's and Blake's. This one is only on Justin's. Blake Lively pens cryptic note after Justin Baldoni's legal defeat, how it ended. Okay, I don't know what that means. Taylor Swift out as a godmother to Blake Lively's kids. Okay, that is also put here. This one is repeated, and this one's also repeated. So there's a few things. I think we've read something to this effect already. Okay, so this is an interesting thing. I don't even know what this Daily Jang is. I've never heard of it. So it's interesting that it hits the highest, like, the highest amount of like hitting every one of their search results, because I'm like, what is this? I've never heard of this website before, but maybe other people have. And I'm going to end the poll and see what people had said. So 29% believe that she'll provide a deposition and 71% believe that she'll drop the motion. Okay. Pam said, Sarah just said Blake can drop it, but the judge will most likely dismiss it. Christina said, all that takes a toll on you, though, Bocce. It's understandable for you to be tired. Take care of yourself as well. Thanks, Christina. That's what I ended up doing today. I did do a few like phone calls for work, but for the most part, just took a sick day. Mari said Blake does not want to tell her story in the courts. She tried to dodge the previous depo and now this one too. The settlement before trial was another instance of not wanting to speak in the court. The one you don't know, 9773, said BL wanted to be the voice for women, girls, and now she chose to be silenced. I guess it's a little bit too late to stay silent now, LOL. I don't know if she even wanted to be the voice for women and girls. I think she wanted it if it had rewards for her to do so. I don't think she wanted the work of what that means. Khaleesi said, I'm boycotting Blake too, but she doesn't have anything new coming out, so I'll boycott the old stuff too, LOL. Mari says she speaks with biased journalists, lame talk show hosts, and tabloids, including New York Times. Christina said, even if we don't get to see much of it, the fact she would have to do it brings me joy. Pam said, yeah, Blake is easier to boycott. Christina said, you guys, imagine when this is all over and Jed can finally do his thing. Oh, Blake and Ryan will regret what they have done even more. Just in my opinion, of course. Britt said that he helps a lot of people in Hollywood, so that also doesn't bode well for Blake and Ryan. I mean, I still don't know exactly what Jed does, to be honest. Khaleesi said, I can't wait to see Justin in something. Christina said, I don't know if it will happen or if he will, but the thought brings me joy. Bring the hidden stories to light, Jed. I'm here for it. Oh, bring hidden stories to light. Got it. Khaleesi said, recast Nice Pool with Justin and I'll think about it, Marvel. I don't know if Justin makes sense in the Marvel universe. I mean, maybe. I mean, I just don't think that that's his kind of shtick or his kind of what kind of movie he'd want to make, but I don't know. Kiara said the movie that Wayfair is doing, and I think Justin is producer, sounds interesting. What's the movie? Oh, it is called Hello Darkness, My Old Friend. Okay. Kimberly said, I'm still boycotting Tim Hortons. Okay. So let's look at this first one. Again, has anyone ever heard of this Daily Jang before? I've never heard of it. And yet it's something that has hit Blake Lively's, Justin Baldoni, and Ryan Reynolds search. And so the question is, as we're reading this, who put it out? You know, I guess we'll see by the slant of the article who put it out, potentially. Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds tease new beginnings after Justin Baldoni's legal blow. Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively have been legally battling since December 2024. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have reportedly entered a new chapter of their life after Justin Baldoni's legal setback. The Gossip Girl alum and her husband tease new beginnings as they expand their financial revenue source with a new venture. Taking to her Instagram stories, Lively reshared the post of Blake Brown Beauty, which she announced on July 30 till 31, 2024. Notably, the new post teased that the actress turned businesswoman is set to launch a new curly hair product. The curls you've been craving, coming 8/10. That ends with a star captioned the new reel featuring glimpses of new products. Ryan Reynolds also shared the new post on his Instagram stories. As the post garnered momentum on social media, several fans began expressing their excitement with, okay, now we know definitely who put out this article. With one commenting, only good stuff. Curly hair products. Okay, I need another gush. While a third commented, I have been waiting for this. Okay. A fourth said, I'm so stoked for this. For those unaware, apart from her acting career, Blake Lively has been running her hair care line since July 2024 via social media, revealing that it had been 7 years in the making. This update, sorry, I'm so amused because I'm like, we'll see who put out this article. And just seeing those commenters, you already knew. You know what? Where is this Instagram story? Where? I want to see this thing. At Blake Brown Beauty? Okay. I got to see this for myself. Because y'all got to be lying. There's no stinking way unless they limited the post. Blake Brown Beauty. Okay. Oh, they weren't lying. They might have just been deleting comments, or nobody looks at her website at all, because all of this is these are all positive comments. There was only one hidden comment by Instagram, which said no one cares. But everything else is like, stop, this is so cute. This is too cute. So, I mean, I guess all of these comments are very positive on this Blake Brown Beauty thing. And they don't have it limited, but they also don't have very many comments. So I don't know if they're deleting comments or or what, but interesting. Okay. But definitely this is an ad. ISIS email 2488 said another paid ad. I mean, it reads like an ad. It really does. But let's see. Let's continue. Just crack me up though. For those unaware, apart from her acting career, Blake Lively has been running her hair care line since July 2024 via social media, revealing that it had been 7 years in the making. This update came after Blake Lively's rival Justin Baldoni lost his legal battle against the New York Times. On July 27th, the USA Today reported that the New York Supreme Court Justice Gerald Lebovitz ordered Justin Baldoni's studio to pay $171,616.20 in damages to the publication. Notably, the media company was seeking nearly $181,622.70 in attorney's fees under New York's anti-strategic lawsuits against public participation law after the claims against the newspaper Wayfarer's federal lawsuit were dismissed in June 2025. After the publication detailed Blake Lively's harassment accusations against Justin Baldoni, the actor filed a lawsuit against the actress and the media publication for damaging his reputation publicly. The legal drama between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively began on December 31st when the actress accused the 42-year-old actor and director of sexually harassing her. I mean, this person's at least accurate that it started on December 31st because the December 21st one was more like a PR hit piece rather than a legal thing. They made it seem like it was a legal thing, but the legal courts did not officially get involved until December 31st. Notably, the legal drama also dragged the Times after the production company Warner alleged that the publication tarnished the actor's reputation. Warner? What's Warner? Do they mean Wayfarer? Why did they say after the production company Warner? Alleged that the publication tarnished the actor's reputation by reporting the actress's allegations of sexual harassment and retaliation on the It Ends With Us set. Now, after the actor and his studio failed to prove their claims in court, they were ordered to pay the publication, which reportedly delights Blake Lively. She and her husband also spent quality time in the Big Apple. I mean, okay, that's an interesting way to phrase what happened. I mean, this is definitely Blake and Ryan's. This is definitely coming from Blake and Ryan, because it has to be a planted story because it's hitting all three of theirs. And I'm like, what is this article? What is this platform? Who are they? I've never heard of them. Like, what is this thing? Where is there about me? I want to understand. Maybe I should Google what this is. Daily Jang is an Urdu, I'm butchering that probably, language newspaper headquartered in Karachi, Pakistan, and is considered one of the country's leading newspapers. It was founded in 1939 and is the oldest newspaper and continuous publication in Pakistan, first published during World War II. The name Jang translates to war in Urdu, reflecting its historical context as a voice for Muslim political mobilization. Daily Jang has played a significant role in shaping public discourse in Pakistan and continues to be a prominent media outlet. Okay, then why do they care about this case? I don't what does this have to do? Why do they care about this case then? I mean, am I reading about the right one? That can't be right. Is it? Because why do they care about this case? Oh, I mean, I guess it really is about them. It is interesting. I guess it is. Um, because it's not the only article that has hit um that has hit the search results. Another one is this one. This one says um Blake Lively pens cryptic note after Justin Baldoni's legal defeat. How it ended. Another Simple Favor actress breaks silence after Justin Baldoni's studio ordered to pay New York Times. Blake Lively may have been enjoying the latest development in her harassment saga with Justin Baldoni. The legal battle, which was initiated by the Gossip Girl alum in December 2024, has taken a shocking twist after New York Supreme Court Justice Gerald Lebovitz ordered the 42-year-old actor and director to pay a whopping amount to the New York Times after he failed to win the lawsuit against the publication. I mean, these are kind of misrepresentations on this one. A few days after the court's verdict gained momentum on social media, Blake has returned to the spotlight to seemingly tease her rival and what she mentioned Justin in her lawsuit as a harasser after he suffered a major loss. Taking to her Instagram stories on Friday, July 31st, another Simple Favor actress shared a slew of images from her recent outing in New York City, offering glimpses into her accessories. In the faceless images, Blake kicked off her slides with a snap of her legs, showing off her gold anklet and black heels. She stated over the image how the night started. Um, Blake Lively takes a dig of Blake Lively, followed by another snap in which she took off the heels and wore sneakers as she concluded her day on a cryptic note that read how it ended. I don't know if that's a cryptic note. In another frame, the mother of four shared a brief note as she flaunted her luxury bag, stating, I know the bag is distracting. Sabrina at Luxury Promise has the most incredible vintage finds. She has a great eye and the most unique pieces. I don't gatekeep incredible founders. She is as fabulous as she is kind. This message seemed like a dig at her former co star who recently lost his legal battle against the New York Times. In what way? How is that a dig? On July 27th, USA Today reported that the New York Supreme Court Justice Gerald Lebovitz ordered Justin Baldoni's studio to pay one. Okay, this part. Okay, $171,616.20 in damages to the publication. Okay, this one is the same thing, kind of almost um as the other one, but it says on December 31st, the Jane the Virgin's production company. Why do they keep saying Warner? It's Wayfarer. Accused the Times, Blake and her husband Ryan Reynolds, of civil extortion and defamation after the newspaper reported on the actress's allegations of sexual harassment and retaliation. It ends with a set. This is not true. Well, I mean, yes and no. Like, they sued the Times on December 31st. Blake and her husband, so Ryan Reynolds, all of that didn't happen until January 16 of 2020. So it's not the same. They make it sound like it's the same day. It's not. Christina said, are these the things they used to make AI say stuff since they are published? Might be a crazy thought. Maybe. Because again, this one hit like the first one that we read hit all of their search engines, all of their SEOs. So so I feel like this one had to be messing with SEO stuff. So it probably would pull up for AI searches and summaries. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds celebrate Justin's Baldoni's legal loss. Now, after the actor and his studio failed to prove their claims in court, they were ordered to pay the publication, which reportedly delights Blake Lively, as she and her husband also spent quality time in the Big Apple. Um, I really believe that this is the thing that we saw with Blake Lively. Also, want to point out he really truly doesn't have a butt. I know that that's a pointless thing to bring up, but we talked. He he. I've always. I mean, a part of me did wonder if he padded his butt for like Deadpool, because his actual body has no butt. It is this flat. So it does make me wonder either if he did butt padding or if he had a stunt double that just had a butt. Because every time we see a back view of Ryan, it looks like this. It's like non-existent. And yet in the movie, he has a butt. And I understand this is loose, a loose outfit, but it's tight everywhere else but the butt. Really, I mean, I guess it's loose down here too, but I don't know. I'm just wondering now. Every time I see something where I see him in a costume, but I don't see that it's actually him. If it has a butt, it makes me wonder if it's truly him. Sometimes. Because I've seen enough pictures of him and the backside that makes me go, I don't think he actually has a butt. Khaleesi said, "Butt AI." So on Thursday, the couple is seen strolling the streets of NYC sporting luxurious Hermes bags that are worth over 100,000 combined. Okay. So this was a lot of stuff that were written like it matches the articles, you know? It matches the other article that we read earlier about the Blake Lively Ryan Reynolds tease new beginnings after Justin Baldoni's legal blow. Oh. Um it's interesting because when I look up the author of this article, like we like there's no like bio on this person really. Like usually you can find something. Let me see if okay. I guess they're saying that this person is I don't know. I guess they're saying the author is this person. I mean, they're saying that this platform has existed for a really long time. I don't know, but something's just feels fishy to me about this site. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Um, is there anything else I wanted to read that hit both? Um, Interesting how this article, this one article about lawyers allegedly rolling their eyes at Blake Lively's latest request. And I think this is interesting. This was written 15 hours ago. And look at why I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting because it says this. Later in the interview, the same alleged insider took umbrage with how news outlets have been handling the Shallows actress request. Why do I find that really interesting? I find that really interesting because when do people ever refer to her as the Shallows actress? Usually it's Gossip Girl, maybe A Simple Favor. Obviously it ends with Us, but when do they how often do you hear her the default description of her being Shallows actress? This was from 15 hours ago. Now 15 hours ago, so let's see. What was 15 hours ago? What was 15 hours ago from right now? 15 hours ago, 15 hours ago was 7:06 a.m. Wait, no, that's not right. Is it? Anyways, I just wanted to know because it refers to her as the Shallows actress. And I'm like, is it a coincidence? Is it a coincidence that they're saying that now when this article comes out? Blake Lively's underrated shark movie, The Shallows, is swimming to Netflix for a new life. The Blake Lively shark movie, The Shallows, is set to join Netflix catalog later this month. Released in 2016, the survival thriller earned positive reviews from critics and emerged as a commercial success during its theatrical run. The Shallows, starring Blake Lively, is headed to Netflix later this month, according to What's on Netflix. The survival thriller has been scheduled to begin streaming on the platform on August 15, 2026. The Shallows is a survival thriller directed by Jamie Colette Sarah. I'm sorry. From a screenplay by Anthony Jaswinski. It was released in theaters across the United States on June 24, 2016. The story follows medical student Nancy Adams, who travels to a secluded beach in Mexico while coping with the loss of her mother. However, her peaceful surfing trip quickly turns into a life or death struggle after she's attacked by a great white shark. Injured and stranded on a small rock just 200 yards from shore, Nancy is left isolated in open water. She must overcome her injuries and outthink the predator as she searches for a way back to safety. Lively stars as Nancy Adams with Oscar Hanada portraying Carlos. The film's supporting cast includes Brett Cullen as Mr. Adams, Sedona Legay as Chloe Adams, Pablo Calva as Boy, and Janelle Bailey as Mrs. Adams, among others. The film received generally positive reviews from critics upon release and went on to achieve commercial success at the box office. On Rotten Tomatoes, it holds a 78% critics ratings based on 218 reviews. Meanwhile, the audience score stands at 59%. According to Box Office Mojo, The Shallows grossed just over 119 million worldwide during its theatrical run. The total includes more than 55 million from domestic theaters and over 63 million from international markets. So I guess a part of me feels like is it a coincidence that they're now referring to her as a Shallows actor, you know? Is that a coincidence? Or are they trying to make that a thing right now because they're putting Shallows back into Netflix? Kenny said no one had ever heard of The Shallows, LOL. I can just imagine how good the acting is in that one. Isis email 2488 said it ends with sharks. Christina said, Kenny, wasn't she in a bikini for that movie? Yep, I believe that's the case. I remember the really rough there were some rough reviews about Shallows, and somebody said that that Shallows was just a bikini with Blake in it. So, hi Kamal 2468. Thank you for the laughing disco for 250 jewels. Kiara said Ryan probably begged Netflix. I mean, I think they have a deal with Netflix right now, so probably. What is this? What are these? Should I be concerned that there's 3 dots on my? I've never seen these kind of dots on my fingers before. What are these dots? Kind of interesting. I'm gonna take a picture of it real quick because I'm like, what is that? What are these dots? Kamal said, hi, just saw your live. We'll start watching from the beginning. Love your deep dives, Bocce. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hi, Gloria. You said from Gossip Girl to Shallows actress to show she knows her relevancy isn't current. Also, it was removed from Netflix a year ago. Now they're posting it back on her because she has nothing else. Are the dots like little blisters? I guess maybe. They look like tiny fluid-filled bumps beneath the skin, which can happen with dihydrotic eczema. This commonly appears on the palms or sides of the fingers and may itch, burn, or later peel. A photo alone cannot confirm it. Other possibilities include mild irritation, friction, or tiny blocked areas of thickened skin. For now, avoid popping them. Oh, good to know, because I really wanted to pop them. Use a plain fragrance-free moisturizer and limit harsh soap or hand sanitizer. Seek medical care if they spread quickly, become painful, red, warm, drain pus, or occur with fever or mouth sores. A rash on the palms with mouth sores can have another cause, such as hand, foot, and mouth disease. I mean, why I should not look at those things. Get scared for no good reason. Okay. Let me see if I can find that thing where people shared their opinions on The Shallows, and they were rough on her. Let me see if I can. I know men really liked it. I got that feedback from men. They like seeing Blake Lively in this film. Perhaps because all she was in is a bikini. I'm not quite sure. Um, but this one had 60% positive, 31% mixed, and 9% negative. For the Metascore, 56% positive, 31% mixed, and 13% negative for user reviews. So people overall liked it. So there wasn't really any there was a lot of like a lot, it's not a lot, but it's more positive than negative, right? um the ones that were negative, uh the Hollywood Reporter said shallow is a mild word for it. Others would be silly, miscalculated, unconvincing, artless, pandering, hokey, ridiculous, or just plain awful. This one said nothing to see here, no plot, no room for enjoyable acting, character development, and absolutely no tension. Even the setup is ridiculous. There is a fresh whale carcass floating nearby, but the shark rather about trying to eat the pretty girl. Pitha, pitha, pith. Um, and this one says, spoiler alert, this review contains spoilers. When you read it, it says, most of this movie seems to be an ocean photo shoot for Blake Lively. Although some aspects of the film are fun and scary, some action scenes are too ridiculous and left me frustrated with the luck and crazy coincidences our heroine is offered. Also, the shark catches on fire. Interesting. Um, This is a watchable film, I suppose, but a number of plot elements seem pretty far fetched to me. So it's hardly a good film, such as its credibility is pretty low, but I suppose it is somewhat engrossing, purely in terms of seeing how Nancy dealt with things. I don't think much of the quality of CGI used either. I guess it's borderline entertaining if you like a thriller drama type watch once the plot gets properly underway, which takes a good 15 minutes or so at least. But I wouldn't recommend it as such. No. But then a lot of folks did have positive comments. Um, this one said the best shark movie ever made, much better. Okay, I'm sorry, much better than Jaws. Please, I've never seen a shark movie like the shark. Okay, that I'm sorry. This was March 19, 2024. That's a bot. I don't believe that. Stop. No. There's no stinking way. There's no stinking way that somebody wrote with a straight face that this is the best shark movie ever made, much better than Jaws. I have never seen a shark movie like The Shallow. That's a lie. I mean, I understand it's subjective. Like things are subjective. I get that. But there's no stinking way this person actually believes The Shallow. I shouldn't say this because I never watched a movie and I never plan to, but I just have a hard time believing that. Okay, spoiler alert. I'm sorry if anybody's planning to watch this movie. Spoiler alert, this person says 82%, one of the better shark movies. It's sad that there are not many good shark movies, or even okay ones. There are just a lot of bad ones that don't have a good budget. This one doesn't have bad CGI, but the only problem I have is the pacing is incredibly bad at parts of the movie. But I like the survival. That's the best part. And the shark is actually good in the movie. Okay. So no mention of Blake Lively. Actually, I realized the best shark movie also doesn't mention Blake Lively, but I just have a hard time believing it's better than Jaws. Okay. Let's not kid ourselves. Blake Lively's not a great actress. She will never be a great. This person is a positive review. This is a positive review, but it cracks me up. Let's not kid ourselves. Blake Lively is not a great actress. She will never be a great actress. But if you need a young, blonde, all American, physically fit actress, Blake Lively will fit the bill. She exudes health and vitality. It's easy to believe that she would be up to tough physical tasks. She's friendly and expressive. So she found perhaps the perfect role for her talents with the gripping The Shallows. She's called upon to play an American surfer who has come to an obscure beach in Mexico. Do enjoy the very waters her mother remembered so fondly. She chats amiably with her driver, then arrives at beach. She's filmed somewhat lingering, getting changed into her surfing gear, and then she has some fun with a couple of local surfers. The scenery is gorgeous, the people are gorgeous, it's all wonderfully tranquil until suddenly it isn't. Lively late in the day and now all alone is attacked by a huge shark. The movie is now one of survival man against nature. The film clocks in at a crisp 87 minutes. It just tells enough story for the most part and nothing more. Lively's adventures, while certainly quite unlikely, have just enough credibility to draw the viewer in. There are brief moments of humor. The film features a wonderful seagull and plenty of moments of terror. If the ending is a bit of a stretch and the coda that follows is a bit ham-fisted, my feeling upon leaving the theater was of having been well and professionally entertained. It's not quite a horror film, nor is it an existential crisis film like All Is Lost, Robert Redford's excellent film. It follows a competent, determined, but fearful character that we like as she tries to figure out a way past her deadly dilemma. There are a few flaws, of course. These vary from unavoidable. A few of the CGI effects are not great, no doubt due to the film's tiny budget, to unneeded. Sorry, but I just don't buy Lively as a, I don't know what that, as a asterisk, 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 asterisk. The script didn't have to make her one. I don't know what that's supposed to replace. A few times, the shark perhaps acts with more intelligence than it should, despite what Jaws the Revenge suggested 30 years ago. Sharks don't carry grudges. And the ending feels a bit tacked on and unneeded. We've spent nearly the entire film alone with Lively. We should have been able to end it that way too. But these are minor annoyances. If you want some heart-pounding fun, set in a gorgeous location with some beautiful views from above, and prefer to get your frights without supernatural elements, The Shallows is highly recommended. This film came out of it is well worth discovering. I don't understand all these like redacted things. It feels why are they redacting certain things? I don't understand what they're saying. Um did any folks come in since I've been reading these things? I'm not sure. Okay. Let's see what else. So, I mean, a lot of it was very positive. Let me see here. So far, see, The Shallows is a fun movie. It isn't particularly memorable, but I enjoyed what I was watching. Compared to some other shark movies, this is a masterpiece. It was a cool concept how the shore was only 200 yards away. It's something original that I haven't seen before. Also, if you hate blood, there is one scene where you'll cringe. I give it a 7.5 out of 10, but I can't do that here, so it's a 7 out of 10. I don't know how to translate this. I mean, it's interesting how few of these reviews actually talk about Blake Lively. It seems like the shark is the star of this movie. Because I mean, Blake is not really mentioned as much as I would think on a movie that she's supposed to star in. It's almost like she's a side character rather than the main character in the way that they write their stuff. Jaws was one of the most popular shark movies ever made, and no movies after that have quite captured the feel of that movie. A lot of directors try to add their spin to it, but it never quite worked like Jaws, not even the sequel to Jaws. The Shallows was a movie that I feel almost captures it. The movie has a simple premise in that a medical student, Nancy Adams, Blake Lively, who is suffering from the loss of her mother, is attacked by a great white shark while surfing and left stranded on a small land of rock, left injured and stranded 200 yards from shore. Nancy must fight for her life as the deadly predator circles her in its feeding ground. The thing to note is that this movie is a one-woman show. Okay, this one does talk about Blake then. Because the thing to note is that this movie is a one-woman show. Blake Lively shines as the main lead, Nancy, and she has she has to consider the movie's mostly 80 minutes of her fighting a CGI shark. She gives such a powerful and believable performance that shows the struggle her character is going through. Every scream, cries, and gasp for the air of Nancy feels very real. And this was only successful due to the amazing performance of Blake Lively. There is some supporting cast, but they are either shark bait or really just there to give exposition or some backstory to Nancy. One standout supporting cast has got to be the seagull that Nancy befriends named Steven Seagal. I see what they did there. Steven Seagal, oh my word. A lot of disaster movies has a dog that the audience doesn't want to die, and in this case, it's Steven Seagal. And I also enjoyed the movie when Nancy was stuck on the rock. It was incredibly tense and very suspenseful. Every time the character has to step off the rock, it is honestly some of the most nail gripping and high tension building moments ever. These moments are slow burners and are not high octane intense moments where she's getting attacked every couple of minutes, but it feels way more entertaining that way. However, during the third act, the movie does become a high octane shark attack movie that becomes borderline ridiculous and kind of silly, albeit slightly entertaining. I also appreciate the one location this movie is set in, which is visually stunning and beautiful, but made for the film as hell for our character and the audience. While I do like the movie when she's finally on the rock, the buildup from before is such a drag, especially considering this movie is only 87 minutes long. The beginning also tries to set up a sort of plot point with Nancy not being sure if she wants to be a doctor anymore due to her mother's death. She asks a lot of supporting characters concerning this, but then it's dropped when the shark attack happens and it's never referred to again. It just feels like pointless padding, and it didn't make me more invested in her character in any way. There are also some weird choices, such as the music, score, and editing. The beginning and the last part of the movie had some really strange music choice with pop songs that honestly made me question if I was watching a 90s music video or something. Did she do the music on that one? It almost makes me want to see who made the choices on the movie The Shallows IMDb. Like who made the music decisions? Who made the music decisions? I want to know. Because I'm a little intrigued by that. Because 90s, doesn't that feel like a Blake Lively decision? But just kidding. I do want to know though who did music. Okay. Okay, just wanted to see. She didn't have authorship over that. Hi, Dre Zombie. You said untraceable music producer. Kenny said, "Can we call Blake Nancy from now on?" I don't want to ruin the name Nancy. uh, it ruins the serious nature and creates a conflict of tone within the movie. The score during the shark attacks become more of what I expected, but not exactly memorable either. There's also a slow-mo in the movie that just feels really out of place and unnecessary. It feels like parts of the movie's a modern take and some feel like it's in the 90s. The CGI shark is generally all right and feels real for the most part. However, during the third act, it becomes notably worse, and some non-CGI sharks are also quite bad to look at and kind of took me out of the film sometimes. There is literally a slow-mo where a CGI object is flying towards the screen, and it was laughably bad. Overall, despite this movie never really reaching the level of Jaws, it does feel like a relatively competent and entertaining movie. It has a lot of good in it that on first viewing, you will definitely come out having a thoroughly enjoyable time with it. This person said Blake Lively in a bikini battling a great white shark. What's not to like? Fun movie popcorn. Just enjoy the ride. This one said tense and well played, but somewhat disfigured by the totally impossible ending. Great performance by the lead actress, great looking shark, somewhat too intelligent probably, but hey, it's a movie. This was a good shark flick in a long time. It was very enjoyable and a thriller to watch with friends. Excellent cast, soundtrack, film location, cinematography, engaging and well paced survival, thriller story, plus memorable shark action sequences. Unnecessary and cliche main character backstory. Um, The Shallows is a tense and energetic B movie throwaway to shark hysteria, in which Blake Lively surprises us all through her decent performance as a semi naked sea prisoner. It's a very simple plot, though, and one that has been done 1,000 times before. Um, while The Shallows isn't one of the big summer movies you waited for, The Shallows is one of the better summer movies due to a solid Blake Lively, Savages, and it's at least a convincing shark attack movie until the end. That is. The movie had me at the edge of my seat throughout, even when it got unrealistic by the end. I still rooted for Blake Lively's survival. Preposterous and beautiful. Forget plot, tension, and all of the rest that makes a really good movie. However, enjoy the gorgeous photography. It's worth watching, especially if you rent and fast forward through the dumb parts, just for the scenery and Blake Lively. Incredible acting by Blake Lively, and it has some incredible tension. The Shallows is a nice, refreshing movie about shark attacks that have been missing in previous shark films. Also, some pretty good directing as well. All in all, The Shallows is no Jaws, but it never overstays its welcome and keeps your attention throughout the film. Um, Smart, thrilling, and brilliantly interpreted, The Shallows brings another typical shark thriller, but it has enough originality and entertainment to be enjoyable. Viewers will not be disappointed. Surprisingly vibrant little film given the genre and the many times we've seen a story like this on screen. Gorgeous scenery and a good story of self improvement. All the moments waiting for something to happen will keep you alert. Recommendable for a quiet night or evening at home. Um, if you ever wondered what would happen if Asylum gave someone talented the $8.60 to make a sci-fi movie, and that person actually hired other people who were talented, and sticking with the stringent parameters of the Sci-Fi Channel, must have a girl in a bikini and a shark, preferably a giant flying one, made a movie. Well, wonder no more. The Shallows is an Asylum movie with good CGI, effective direction, gorgeous cinematography, talented acting, and a serviceable script. The lack of campiness in the movie is actually a smidge of a drawback, as one takes very seriously what is essentially a shark attack movie. And since we take the movie seriously, its third act flaws are only more apparent. If the movie was staying true to its tone, it certainly should have opted for a darker, more realistic ending. Instead, it goes off the rails with a shark that turns into Jason Voorhees and a heroine that might as well be holding a chainsaw. I like the seagull, and I've never found Blake Lively more appealing, and I find her ability to wear a bikini bottom the entire movie somewhat brave. The wife was convinced it was Chris Cooper as the father, but it turns out it's Brett Cullen, who is by appearances a discount Chris Cooper. He needs to ask for more money. I'm pretty sure abandoned surf beaches in Mexico lack both Uber service, let alone such good cell phone service. I'm also positive that most sharks would ignore you with such a big, easy meal floating 50 yards away. All that said, the film is very well done and acted, and while the story doesn't include a flying giant octopus or comic relief, I think it would make a good sci-fi movie. A very good one indeed. I feel like she's getting good, good reviews here. She did a good job in this movie. I had low expectations, but it was surprisingly good. Lively really commits to the role, and sure, she's easy on the eyes too. It either really makes me want to go surfing or really not want to go. A simple but entertaining disaster movie where the super aggressive giant disaster um, tension was high throughout the film, and the lead gave a compelling performance despite having very little dialogue. Oh, so Blake didn't talk much? That's really out of character. So she really committed to the bit. Um, Mari said her movies seem to generally have this take. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but not great. I thought, okay, another Jaws remake, but no, this was a different story and a good one. As before, the villain is huge and unstoppable. This time, the heroine is really self sufficient, no dumb blonde. The chess game between them was Alfred Hitchcock's suspense. A very enjoyable shark survival film, solidly entertaining. There really isn't much else to this film, no deep philosophical underling about the human condition, just basically shark survival. I mean, it's an absolute blast of a time and definitely worth the ticket price. Very close to the shore, yet too far and dangerous to attempt. I'm sure you have seen shark films like Jaws, Deep Blue Sea, etc., and yet this another one to add to that collection. But this was something very neatly done. I mean, for the most of the parts, looked so real, so I thought it might end up top among its similar theme. In the end, I was a little disappointed because of the shark. The portrayal of the shark was very natural until the last half an hour. Then it becomes the common film gimmick where the animal was obsessed to kill its target at any cost. I'm a huge animal fan, but I've never seen a live shark in my life, and that does not mean I don't know anything about them. Thanks to the nature television networks and what I saw in this film was very disappointing if you love wild animals. I'm not supporting the shark here. I'm just talking about his behavior. It was not right. Other than that, I definitely enjoyed the film. And in fact, except the final few final few minutes, since the shark got pumped up, I had no issue and the best shark attack film. But the final battle ruined overall favor. I'm going to give it what I thought this film deserved. Great location, and Blake Lively was unbelievably awesome. In the initial part, she was very sexy. Oh no! Oh no! Don't say sexy. She might sue you. Ali Finley said, I watched it after finding out I hated her regarding Baldoni fiasco, and actually it was pretty good. Maybe because she didn't talk. Hi, Ali. But oh no, this person said what she should. This person said the word that should not have been said. In the initial part, she was very sexy. Ah, no. But once the narration shifted its focus on surfing and later Shark Attack, everything changed. The entire film was edgy, I think very nicely written screenplay. It was a limited cast film, and nearly the whole film takes place very close to the shore. A good start, neatly maintained mid-part, but a below-par conclusion. That's what I think about the film. Slightly missed to be a great film in the line of 127 hours. In fact, this looks like a C version of that film, but I still recommend it because it's worth. What did I do? Anyways, I accidentally hit that, and so maybe that's a sign for me to stop reading. But I mean, overall, got overall good, you know, good feedback here. I mean, I guess there's a few more negative ones here. Huge letdown. The trailers, even the first 40 minutes of the movie were excellent. It set a good tone. The filming and angles were tremendous. The shark itself was extremely well done, as well as it being intimidating, believable. However, things began to turn to the ridiculous after the 40-minute mark. A large gash to leg, losing blood, heavily dehydrated, hungry, and generally weak. Yet after 48 hours, she finds her strength and turns into the Incredible Hulk and takes on the shark. The final 10 minutes were like something out of Sharknado, the great white jumping out of the water to crash into objects. The CGI went very well done to absolutely awful, and the whole thing was utterly ridiculous. Such a good first half, ruined by a terrible second half. That sounds like Blake Lively's career. Sorry. I was expecting a lot more. I figured there would be more to the movie, but it literally is the preview. Nothing more, nothing less. Blake Lively is a great actress, and all of the acting was just fabulous. But the movie itself was not something that I would recommend seeing. Something suggestively smells fishy about the 2016 movie, The Shallows, and it's not just a featured whale or sharks. The movie is a Jaws wannabe thriller with little intensity. The only high point in the film is actress Blake Lively's physical beauty. This is the only depth in the story. Miss Lively spends the entire project wearing little more than a bra and panties, spread eagle at the legs in ocean water. I guess intended to be a bikini. She seeks out alone time to surf a secluded cove on a coral reef in a foreign nation. She gets attacked by sharks and soon finds refuge first atop a dead whale, then above tide reef. She is bleeding badly from the leg. She soon makes friends with an injured seagull as she begs unsuccessfully for rescue. What struck me as implausible during her ordeal was how the director changed her facial makeup with each new scene to maintain that beautiful, sexy. Oh no, again, another person said the word sexy. Lawsuit to you. Sexy look, distressed or not. There are there are all sorts of dumb scenes like resetting a bird's dislocated wing, a drunk man on the beach just 200 yards from her. One of the worst was her finding a flare gun on a buoy with more ammunition than I had ever seen. Adding insult to paying for this crap was a scene where a shadow moves across the screen, like someone going for popcorn in a theater. Miss Lively and Ryan Reynolds must have needed the money badly to shove this lightweight film on innocent fans. Shame on them, a fast way to keep them on the B list of so called actors. Sexy Blake, horrible movie. Oh, my word. That was written in 2016, so I sometimes feel like people were calling them out as for a while now. There are no words to describe how bad this movie is. From the first frame, I knew I was in for a bad ride. The story is totally ridiculous in its attempt to create tension. Anyone as stupid as this main character deserves to get eaten by a shark. Whatever happened to genuine thrillers? Christina said, so basically, people hated the movie, but like to look at Blake in a bikini. I mean, remember when the editors for It Ends With Us said that the reason men voted it higher than the women was because Blake Lively made it like about herself, just constantly putting it on her face. So, and that's why, like, Justin said that, like, she was changing the movie so much that she was forgetting that this wasn't a Blake Lively sizzle reel or whatever. Like, this was meant to be an actual story, and so it was frustrating for her to have taken so many parts out. But obviously, Sony made her put it back in because the story made no stinking sense, just focused on her face all the time. You know what I mean? Okay, so I mean, I could read more, but I'm not going to. It's already been a little over 2 hours, so I'm gonna let myself go and let y'all go. But so Shallows is coming into Netflix, and that it's a mixed bag of how people felt about it. It looks like a lot of people really liked it, you know, but a lot of people liked it because it was better than most of the shark movies that were out there. Other people liked it because Blake was in a bikini the whole time, and they used the word that got Justin sued sexy. So I don't know. Kiara said, "Wait, why is James Scott not getting out for 2 years?" I have no idea. I think they're probably fighting to get him out sooner than that, if possible, or at least get him moved to a low security facility, because it doesn't even make sense why he's in a high security place. But hopefully he gets out sooner than those 2 years. But at least he gets paroled. All right, folks, have a good one. Bye.